Hey guys, what is going on, and welcome back to another Ghost of Tsushima video. So with hundreds of hours played in Ghost of Tsushima and Ghost of Tsushima Legends, guys, I feel like I have a little bit of a leg to stand on. So today I will be sharing with you guys what I believe to be my top 5 favorite legendary items. Now, with that said, guys, do understand that this is just, this is all objective. This is just from my point of view, somebody who's played every single class, every single ghost in Ghost of Tsushima Legends, and have a little bit of experience from playing every single one, along with getting a bunch of amazing tips and pointers from everybody out there that has been watching my videos and supporting this channel. So hope you guys follow along, and I was actually kind of excited to do this. I got this amazing idea for a video from my boy Caramel Drizzle. He's awesome. He's always giving me some incredible content suggestions. So if you guys ever have any kind of suggestions of stuff that you want to see, I did add a little comment in the community section if you guys want to add under that basically what you guys want to see from the channel. Also, if you guys aren't part of the Discord already, please feel free to join the Discord. I have a specific section for Ghost of Tsushima. If it's something you're looking for, maybe looking for a group section or just a general chat or somewhere you want to share your awesome screenshots that you got. Oh yeah, good morning, by the way. Hope you guys liked the video. If you do, please be sure to leave a like down below and subscribe to the channel if you're not already subscribed. If not, it's all good. We love y'all anyway. Catch you guys on the next one. Much love. Peace. All right, guys, what is going on, and welcome to another video. So like I said, guys, today I'm going to be sharing my top 5 legendary items with you guys. Basically, the way I'm going to do this is I will go over each item. I'm going from 5 to 1. Each item I'm going to be giving you pros, cons, how you get the items, and kind of a little bit of play style, basically, of how the items are used essentially. So yeah, let's get right into it. I'm kind of excited. My first item, guys, number 5 that I'm going to be giving you guys is for the assassin, and that is going to be Heaven's Sting. So Heaven's Sting is an incredible choice for an assassin. I know there's a couple different ways to build the assassin, but right now we're talking about Heaven's Sting. So a few pros when it comes to Heaven's Sting. Essentially, guys, this is, as you know, for assassins, having stealth attack damage increases the damage of your stealth attacks when you're coming from stealth, right? When you're doing assassinations, when you're hitting critical strikes, if you're attacking from above, if you're coming out of bushes, or if you're coming out of your smoke, it does increase your damage done from your stealth attacks. So Heaven's Sting is the only ranged weapon in the game that actually does give stealth attack damage. That is kind of makes sense considering it is a weapon mainly for an assassin. So I think that's a big pro, and it's a good thing to think about when you're you're trying to gear up for a nightmare story mission or a nightmare survival mission. How do you want to play, right? Do you like assassinating more? What's your play style? So it's important to know this is the only weapon that does give you extra stealth attack damage as a ranged weapon. Another pro, I would say, you still have the ability with this weapon, obviously with the regular blowgun as well, to use your hallucination darts. And hallucination darts, if you guys don't already know, when you shoot an enemy with an hallucination dart, essentially that enemy becomes the enemy of your enemies, right? They all start attacking that specific enemy and basically help you bring them down. There are other techniques that the assassin has after assassinating called hysteria that will also apply the hallucination effect everyone around you. So it's actually really helpful. Having hallucination darts is incredible, and it's a very strategic way of playing when it comes to using your assassin. So I think that's a good pro. Another pro, guys, and probably the biggest one, obviously, is the incredible ability that is added onto the Heaven's Sting, and that is the darts have a 20% chance to instantly kill non-Oni targets. And when I tell you that this thing procs way more than you might think, I mean it, guys. Having this in Nightmare Story Mission has been something that has saved me on multiple occasions. You just pull it out and you hit them with the regular poison darts, And if it's not an Oni target, the chances of that guy dropping, I'm talking like big dudes, big Mongol dudes with shields, archers, and guys with helmets and all kind of stuff, guys. You can drop them instantly. Even guys that are attuned, you know, this week's Nightmare Story mission, even guys that are attuned, you can kill them without even having an attunement on you. You can kill them with this. It's kind of OP. It's so strong, and I think it's a great thing to have. Like I said, if you're more of a strategic player. All right, so now we're gonna go over a couple cons that I have for the Heaven Sting, and you know, it's kind of hard to find cons for these weapons considering they are legendary and they are absolutely amazing, but a couple of things I would say is aiming can be a little difficult with this thing if you're kind of, you know, if you're kind of in a rush or you're trying to like speed run or something like that. If you don't take the time to let the crosshair kind of zero in order for you to get that hallucination dart off, you can miss, or it might not even shoot at all. You know, you might accidentally let go of the left trigger a little quicker than you might like. So it takes just a little bit of time, right? It's not like a bomb pack where you can just real quick hold the left trigger and kind of start spamming. No, you really have to pinpoint where you're going. So that could be a little bit of a con for people who aren't exactly patient. And another con that I think I have, and lastly, would definitely be that the ammo on this thing is relatively low. So I think you get around 10 poison shots and 2 hallucinations and 3 weakening darts. So it is kind of low. So especially if you're spamming to get that 20% chance to instantly kill non-Oni target effect, if you are spamming your poison darts, unless you have some kind of ammo cache next to you, it's gonna be kind of disappointing when you run out of ammo pretty quickly. So kind of plan for that, you know, use it strategically, and you should be good to go. Now guys, pretty much the only way I've noticed to get the Heaven Sting, and I honestly don't think the drop rate is really high, but I also don't think it's extremely low. So I think it's kind of an average drop rate. So as long as you're playing with the assassin, guys, you will eventually unlock the Heaven Sting. All right, guys, my number 4 item, as you guys can see right here, is none other than Forbidden Medicine. Now, Forbidden Medicine, guys, I'm just going to tell you right off the back, the way you unlock it is by playing a Ronin. Okay, if you want this amazing item, you have to play with the Ronin, and it will unlock eventually. You know, you got to get the grind on, you know what I'm saying? Now, with that said, the only ghost that I use this on is my assassin, and I use it for Nightmare Survival, and I'll go into it as to why I use it this way. A couple of the pros that I would say for the Forbidden Medicine, guys, is obviously that it can be unlocked for the assassin. As you guys see at the bottom perk, it says assassin unlocked. So if you do roll that, you will have it for your assassin, which is incredible, and it helps with getting resolve back, and like really quickly, guys. Like as soon as the group spawns and you start spamming this, you do get your resolve back, and I have found it to be extremely useful, and it completely changes the dynamic of your playstyle when you're in Nightmare Survival. Another pro that I would say for this, guys, obviously, is the incredible added ability of the bombs also heal allies caught in the blast and yourself. Guys, that, like I said, the dynamics of your playstyle completely change when you have this and you're playing in a team-based setting such as Nightmare Survival, because if you're low on health, or if your teammates are low on health, or if you guys just got poisoned, like this thing is gonna come in handy. So like team healing and healing from poison and healing from exploding bodies during a boss wave, like this thing is so clutch, and it has saved me on multiple occasions with my assassin. And so long as you're not wasting it on only healing, and you're using it as kind of like an accessory item when you're in the middle of a group. So like, let's say you guys have a boss wave and you guys are fighting and somebody gets poisoned, or you get poisoned, and you're still in the middle of fighting. As long as you're, you know, kind of like carpet bombing the area while you're still in the explosion, like kind of aim down a little bit, throw it at the ground while you're running through Mongols, causing damage not only to them, but also healing yourself and your teammates around you, is a good little play style for it. And I think that it definitely changes the usefulness of an assassin throughout Nightmare Survival, and you know, people kind of see you differently as opposed to just a crazy guy that runs around and killing people that are low on health and stuff like that, you know what I mean? So you become a little more useful and you feel a little more accomplished, I think, when you're doing this. A couple of cons that I would say for Forbidden Medicine, however, is that when you do unlock it for your assassin, unfortunately you do lose the capability of using black powder bombs that you will always see the Ronin using on their bombs, and the black powder bombs are absolutely incredible. However, when you are the assassin, you do not get that, unfortunately. So I would say that that is a con. Obviously it's not a con for the Ronin, but like I said, this is from my point of view and I never use this on my Ronin. Another con I would say is when it is being used by Ronin, unfortunately it is taking up a legendary slot. Ronins already have a bunch of healing, right? They have their healing incense, they have their dog that can have a healing radius around them, they have their ultimate, you know, they have other ways to heal and to kind of keep your team alive. And so having this is an extra way to do it, you know, depending on your playstyle, of course. And if you like to have this, it's a bunch of healing, but it does take up an extra legendary slot, so you kind of have to plan accordingly, right, with how you're going to use it. You know, do you have room for another legendary, or do you only like having one legendary, because otherwise you have to sacrifice your Ronin technique of healing when you revive people, you know, or if you're fire Ronin, you have to sacrifice the ability to catch things on fire. So it does take up a slot and you kind of have to think strategically, and honestly that's with any legendary, guys. So this is kind of how I'm using it, so you guys can like take the little tips and pointers of how I use these specific items. All right, guys, so item number 3, and so this is kind of a little caveat item because it does have 2 items in this position, just because I couldn't figure out which one was more important. My 2 items for this specific section are going to be Masumane's Edge and Last Breath. So both of these items are essentially used on my samurai. For Masumane's Edge, we will go over a little bit of the pros. The way katanas are unlocked, guys, from what I've noticed, is playing any character doesn't really matter. You will unlock the katana. I think with the master's katana, you have a better chance of unlocking with the samurai, but honestly none of this stuff is proven. This is just from my point of view, from how I've played and from, you know, the items that I have gotten dropped with certain characters that I have been playing. With Masamune's Edge, a couple of the pros that I would say for this is you have wind and water stance. So the wind stance helps against spear enemies and the water stance helps against shielded enemies. And you guys understand from playing just even in the story mode that these are the 2 most absolutely OP characters in the game. They're really annoying to deal with, but with Masamune's Edge, you have the ability to take care of both of those enemies, and it helps so much, and it comes in handy so long as you remember that you have both stances, right? Now remember, this specific Masamune's Edge is one that I have built with the water stance, as you can see, so that's what I'm talking about here. I do have water stance in there because to me water stance is the best stance that you can possibly get for many reasons, and we can go more in depth on that if you have any questions about it. But obviously surging strikes being the main reason for water stance being the best. It is the quickest and the strongest strikes, unless you're using like animation canceling for like the spin on the moon katana and stuff like that. I think water stance is the best, so I have it on here. So that is one pro I would say. You know, handling those enemies is priceless. And lastly, the ability, guys, on Masamune's Edge is amazing. And at one point I was playing the samurai and I thought, man, I felt a little bit weak, and I had a couple people in the comments say, hey, you should really try this weapon out because this ability, aka melee attacks, have a 20% chance to deal double damage, and then maybe kind of let us know how it goes. So I did try it, and oh my god, guys, this double damage, it procs an insane amount. And it procs for your ultimate, it procs for your regular strikes. I have found it to be incredibly useful, so I think that this is probably one of the best things that I can get on an ability from a legendary item. It's amazing, and dealing double damage as a samurai, guys, is OP as hell. For the cons, I would say for Masamune's Edge is the fact that it does take up a slot and you are kind of forced to use a katana. Obviously, as a samurai, you don't really want to take 2 legendaries. I mean, sometimes you can, depending on your playstyle. For me, I don't like taking 2 legendaries because I like having those extra 2 strikes on my Hachiman's Fury, because honestly, like, having those 2 extra strikes is just that much extra damage that a samurai does, right? For me, my samurai build is mainly based around getting injured resolve and the ability to do insane damage with my ultimate. Another con I would say for this, and lastly, is that having water stance unfortunately does take away Way of the Flame. So if you are using this as a legendary and you put water stance on here, which is, you know, obviously what I'm doing, it does take away your ability to have Way of the Flame. And, you know, some people might be okay with that, others, you know, might not. I have come to love Way of the Flame, and I have found it incredibly useful on all my other builds, and I think that, you know, it's a big sacrifice to make, but for my samurai, it's a little bit of a different playstyle from all my other classes, so I think for me it's a good trade-off. All right guys, now let's go over Last Breath. So Last Breath is a great way to get your samurai to be just OP and a freaking unkillable machine for a short amount of time. So when it comes to the pros for this, is the fact that, what the fuck did I even write right there? Is the fact that Last Breath for the samurai is extremely versatile, right? You do have injured resolve gain, you can put combat regen, you could put super armor. The added ability on this thing obviously is the biggest thing, and it's amazing. So instead of taking fatal damage, you heal for 50% of your health, and that can occur every 5 minutes. So you heal for 50 health, I would say, because there is a technique for the samurai that adds 25 health onto it. So it doesn't heal for 50%, it heals for 50 of your health. And this can make you unkillable, especially if you have an injured resolve gain, and basically your whole goal is to take damage, and you take a bunch of damage, and if you accidentally take too much damage, it doesn't matter because you're gonna get healed for 50 of your health. So let's talk about a couple cons for this. The thing about this is that obviously having a legendary charm does take up your legendary slot, and you guys will hear me talking about that taking up a slot being a con, and the only reason is because there are a bunch of strong items for the katana, for the range, for the ghost weapon sections, to the point where I don't see a lot of people running a legendary charm. You guys might run legendary charms on your build, I just haven't seen it a lot, so that's the only reason I'm saying that. And it does take up a slot, so, you know, of course with anything you have to be strategic with what you use depending on your playstyle. So it's fun to test out a bunch of different builds and kind of see what you become comfortable with and what you love the most, and honestly just rock with it, man. If it's something you love, just use it. Another con I would say, and lastly, is the added ability has a 5-minute cooldown. Now, understand that these 5-minute cooldowns are affected by your abilities and your items. So if you're using, let's say, the technique that brings down your percentage of cooldown, that will definitely affect the 5 minutes. If you're using Spirit Kunai, that will definitely affect the 5 minutes. But 5 minutes is a long time if you actually think about it. So you got to kind of be careful once it does proc, and kind of pay attention when it procs, because at some point you might think you have it and you might have accidentally already used it by getting your butt kicked in a fight earlier, and you might have forgotten. So you got to be cognizant and you got to be paying attention for that, so you don't get caught slipping. You know what I'm saying? All right, guys, in second place, and a lot of you might think that this should be first place considering a couple of amazing things. I consider this item to be the strongest item in the game, and also the drop rate for this item until you get the item, of course, because that's how kind of RNG works in this, is once you get the item, you start getting it more often. I have heard of people being, I didn't get this until I was level 80. I've heard of people being 100, 100 plus and still haven't gotten it. But that's none other than the Skipping Stone Bow. Like I said, you might think it belongs in first place, but I mean, you'll see my first place item. So for the Skipping Stone Bow, guys, it is the strongest. It is amazing. So you can actually use the Skipping Stone Bow for any class, and it becomes extremely helpful. However, obviously, mainly you want to use it for the hunter. There's going to be a lot of pros for this, so kind of sit back and relax, okay? The first one being that this is definitely the strongest weapon in the game. Hands down, the strongest weapon in the game. Another pro I would have is the fact that with headshot refund, essentially you can never run out of ammo. So as long as you're hitting your headshots, every ricochet shot that you get, you are getting double the arrows back. So if you had one arrow left and you hit a ricochet headshot, you're going to have 2 arrows, and you can essentially keep doing that every single time and almost never run out of ammo. I rarely find myself picking up ammo or even going to ammo caches. A lot of people like to get helmet piercing ammo or maybe shield piercing. However, this is my playstyle, guys, so I choose headshot refund and I love it so much, and I never looked back. Another pro that I have obviously is the amazing ability, guys. Headshots ricochet to nearby enemies. So as long as you're hitting those headshots, guys, your arrows are ricocheting. And that's whether they're fire arrows, whether they're poison arrows, whether they're helmet piercing, shield piercing, explosive arrows are also doing that too, guys. It's insane. It is so overpowered and absolutely amazing. The biggest pro, I think, for this, obviously, aside from the incredible added ability on here, is the fact that as a hunter, guys, if you have 5 headshots on your technique, right? If you have, you know, the ability to add 2 extra targets, as a hunter, you can essentially clear an entire wave by yourself with 1 freaking shot on weakened enemies, right? So obviously the technique would mainly be, you know, throw your smoke bomb down, hit them with an explosive arrow. Obviously, if you get that headshot, you get double that explosive arrow damage because it ricochets and it does the same effect to both enemies. So oftentimes I'll shoot the biggest Oni and let that explosive arrow ricochet. It'll catch everyone on fire, wait for a little bit, and then hit them with that ultimate. And honestly, guys, you can clear entire waves out, even in Nightmare Survival with your hunter, and not even freaking break a sweat. I think this is, you know, this speaks for itself, and I know you've seen hunters do it, clear entire waves. By the time you get there, everything's dead. The thing about this is, as a skipping stone bow is a long bow, you do get more fire arrows. You get less ammo essentially because you only get 15 arrows. However, the fire arrows, you get 8 of them. So it's an amazing trade-off. You guys understand how strong fire arrows are. They're great for bears. They're great for extra damage if you're shooting Onis in the head. Another thing, and I think to be something that is just so strong in this game, is double resolve gain, guys. If you're getting a headshot and it ricochets, essentially you can fill up almost a whole entire bar of resolve gain, and that's not even having added resolve gain on any of your items. It's so strong. It's so you can have your ultimate in essentially 4 to 6 headshots. It's amazing, guys. So don't sleep on this, man. The resolve gain on here is absolutely amazing, and that's why sometimes you see hunters, they'll have like 3 different ultimates in like a minute. You know what I'm saying? Like you can just spam this and it's insane. Another good pro with the skipping stone bow, and I guess that's with any bow, is that you do have the ability to rapid fire. If you don't know how to rapid fire, I suggest looking it up. If you've ever watched any of my hunter videos and you see me just letting off shots super fast, that's because I am utilizing the rapid fire ability in this game. It's not a glitch. It is a way to shoot the arrows so much faster. The only problem is that you do lose velocity. So as a longbow, you know, you are using the bigger arrows and they do have a faster drop. You just have to account for it. And the more you do it, the more you'll kind of understand the trajectory of the arrow. So it'll become a hell of a lot easier. Let's go over a couple cons for this. So basically the 2 cons that I have is the same thing that I have. Like I've already said, guys, it is a longbow, which means that your drawing and your reload times are definitely going to be increased, and it makes it more difficult unless you want to add draw speed or reload speed onto your weapon itself. It makes it a little difficult and kind of makes the time a lot longer than a half bow. So kind of keep that in mind when you are shooting. Another con is the lower ammo. Like I said, guys, it has lower ammo, but they're so strong, like it's almost a great trade-off. And with, you know, headshot refund, it almost doesn't even matter. Skipping stone bow, guys, definitely unlocked with the hunter. I've gotten it with other characters, of course, but you play the hunter more, you're going to be able to get it. Do it on, you know, on the raid, on Nightmare Story, Nightmare Survival. As long as you're grinding, eventually you will get this, guys. It might seem hopeless, but I promise you, eventually you're going to get this. So keep grinding, guys, for this amazing weapon, because honestly, it is well worth it. All right, guys, now my number 1 item, as many of you have probably already guessed if you have made it this far into the video, is the one and only Spirit Kunai. This thing, guys, and the reason it has my skipping stone bow beat out is very, very obvious, and it is the first thing I'm going to say about this. Is the added ability for this kunai. Not only does this amazing weapon only have 30-second cooldown, the cooldown is ridiculous, but every kill that you get with the Spirit Kunai will lower all cooldowns, okay? Every cooldown, not only your ghost weapons, not only your way of the flame or anything like that, but also your abilities, guys. This thing is amazing. It lowers them down by 15 seconds. And that is so incredibly strong, especially if you add cooldown reduction like on this one right here, because that means with every kill, it is gonna also add another 4 seconds. It's so strong. With one kill, guys, you already almost have this thing back up, and you've applied that 15 seconds to every single ability you have. Now, if you get 2 kills with the Spirit Kunai, which is something you're always going to be aiming for, you get 30 seconds plus cooldown reduction on kill. So not only will you get 30-second cooldown on all your abilities, but your Spirit Kunai comes right back up immediately, and you're able to continue spamming it and lower the cooldown for all your items. It's this thing, I'm telling you guys, this thing is so strong, and honestly can be used on any build, any character. I do use this on my assassin, and I use it on my Ronin because it is amazing. There are plenty of builds where you can use it on your hunter, even on your samurai. Like, it's so strong, guys. So some other pros that I have, it is the shortest cooldown weapon in the game. Okay, 30 seconds. The kunai has the absolute shortest cooldown in the entire game of 30 seconds, and it synergizes well with any build pretty much, guys, because I mean having your cooldowns up, guys, is probably the most important thing when playing this game. You know, cooldown management is something that you know, it takes a lot of practice, not going in and just spamming. I mean, it happens to all of us, right? We go in and we use our abilities, and you know, it kind of feels a little spammy, and by the time you look down, all your stuff is on cooldown. Having a Spirit Kunai kind of offsets that, right? You have a great way to kind of take back the power from your own dumb self and, you know, get all your cooldowns back. It's amazing. Another pro I think I will have is the fact that it does allow for melee damage increase. This is the only ghost weapon that allows you to add melee damage. So if you are using a samurai, if you are using an assassin, you know, having melee damage added can definitely be a big plus. Another pro that I think I would have is super massive. As you guys can see on the bottom right here, super massive, as you guys can see on the bottom right here, it deals extra damage and causes lighter enemies to get thrown back. So if you have damage increase on this thing along with super massive, and if you're a Ronin, because the Ronin's plus 50% damage boost on all of their abilities, this thing becomes incredibly strong. And essentially what super massive is to ensure that you get that kill, and when you get that kill, you get those 15 seconds of cooldown. So having super massive makes this thing extra strong. And you know, this is the only ability of, you know, of this kind, and you won't really find that on any other ghost weapon. So another thing obviously is the cooldown reduction that we already talked about, guys. You know, you just can't beat it. There's no item in this game that can beat it. It is the strongest in my opinion, and it will most certainly keep you alive, and it will keep your cooldowns up so you can just be stronger. You know, you can clear waves faster, and you can be overall more useful to your team, because as a Ronin, even if you have a healing dog, if you have a healing incense, having those things up at the end of waves, or even during the wave, like maybe there's poison or something like that, to heal your team, you just become a beacon of light for your entire team, and you know, you change the tide of battle. With that said, guys, there are a few cons that I think I would have for this, unfortunately, but you know, like I said, you know, these legendary items are amazing. They rarely have cons, so it's kind of being, you know, picky and choosy type thing. So the first thing I would say, unless you're jumping and throwing the kunai, the odds are you're gonna miss the target you're looking at, and even then you still might miss. This thing is kind of, you know, it's a little sketchy sometimes, I'm not gonna lie. You might be looking, you might have a target directly in front of you and you're looking right at them, and you throw your kunai while running at them, and your kunai will go off in a whole nother direction. Like, I've had that happen so many times, and it literally makes no sense. You know, like when you throw a sticky bomb and it just goes that way? Yeah, that's how it kind of feels sometimes when you're throwing these kunai. Like, it's, you know, it's kind of frustrating. I will never understand why it does what it does, but it does. So just kind of plan for that. But if you jump and you throw your kunai at the same time, you will have an added chance just to kill those targets. So, you know, it does increase. I don't know why it does, but it increases your accuracy with these things. So kind of remember that. Another con that I would have, and like I said, these are just picky and choosy, is sometimes the Spirit Kunai seems a little inconsistent when it comes to the damage. So maybe one enemy that had this amount of health gets killed by your Spirit Kunai when you throw it, and another enemy that might have the same kind of health doesn't. You know, maybe their health bar is way bigger, you just don't realize, and it looks like it's smaller. I don't know, but for me, sometimes it seems like the damage is inconsistent. You know, and, you know, some people might prove me wrong. I don't know. That's just how I feel. Okay, if you have a problem with that, I don't know what to tell you. Like, that's just what I found. I have used this a lot, guys. Like I said, I've played this game for hundreds of hours, and these are just the things that I have noticed while playing with the Spirit Kunai. Lastly, guys, the last con that I have for this is around mid-range. After you throw this, guys, it kind of falls off, like literally whoop, falls down. So you got to be, you know, somewhat close to your target when you are throwing the Spirit Kunai. So kind of plan for that, because I have seen multiple times where I've had a target literally about to die, and I throw my Spirit Kunai, and they are just 1 inch, 1 centimeter, 1 millimeter out of the range of the kunai, and it drops right at their feet. Like bro, can you throw a little higher maybe and make it, you know, do a little lob? You would think with a throwing knife, right, that you would do more, you know, you have distance, you know, but I guess not. This thing does have a range cap, so kind of be cognizant of that. And like I said, with anything, guys, the more you play with these items, you know, the easier it becomes to use them. All right, guys, now I do have a couple honorable mentions. As you guys saw, those are my top 5, and I will stand by those until the end of Ghost of Tsushima. But I do have a couple honorable mentions, and one of them being Touch of Heaven. It is a sticky bomb that heals you and your allies on hit if there is an ally next to you. And the heal for this thing is absolutely amazing. It's so freaking strong. You can build this thing however you want, but Touch of Heaven is a great thing to have if it's something that you're looking for as an added way to heal yourself. So definitely think about that when you are looking for a build, kind of more healing and stuff like that. Touch of Heaven is absolutely amazing. And the second honorable mention, guys, is the Mist of Yagata. Now, I don't know if you've ever seen anybody playing with this. When they throw their smoke bomb down and you start getting healed, or maybe they're being healed, and it has like that symbol in the middle of it, that is the Mist of Yagata being utilized in an amazing way, because this thing does heal you over time. The only thing I would say is that, you know, the heal is pretty small, but it is so amazing when it comes to healing from poison, because all you need is a small sliver of health to be healed in order for that poison effect to come off. So having Mist of Yagata, you know, basically on any class is another great way to heal yourself. You can build this however you want. This is how I have it built. But yeah, those are my 2 honorable mentions. All right, guys, unfortunately, you know, these videos always have to come to an end. Even though I had so much fun making this video for you guys, those are the top 5 items that I have found to be the best legendary items in the game for me, and I've had a great time playing these items and, you know, putting them in use in combat and kind of kicking ass on the battlefield. So yeah, I don't know if you guys have these items already, or maybe you're just getting started in the game and you're kind of, you know, wondering. This is a great video for you to check them out and kind of see what they're made of. And obviously my 2 honorable mentions at the end, if you guys caught those. I gave you guys a little bit of playstyle tips with it too, so I hope it kind of helped. I do have my build videos for every single class that I have down below, so if you guys want to check those out, feel free to check them out. Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I had a great time making it for you guys. I hope to make more videos like this. Like I said, my man Cameron Drizzle kind of gave me some great suggestions, so stay tuned for some more different kind of videos than you would normally see from me. I hope you guys enjoyed, and if you did, be sure to leave a like down below and subscribe to the channel if you're not already subscribed, because that would be absolutely amazing. And we are building a great community here, and I love y'all so much, and thank you guys for making my day so much better. Like, one of my favorite things is waking up to your guys' comments, and I love sitting back with my nice little cup of coffee and replying to you guys, and it makes a world of difference to me. So much love to you guys. Thank you guys for being incredible. Thank you for being an amazing group, and I have had a great time getting to know all of you, and, you know, so much more videos to come. So we'll catch you guys on the next one. Much love. Take care. Peace.